Hey, shalom to the hopeful elect. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone who teach the truth and rule well. This is the brother Yahawah coming back from the GMS SF Bay Area camp. And I got a quick lesson today. All right, Lord's will is edifying. But just going into the topic of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi being all powerful. All right, and having the understanding that everything that happens in the world has to be sanctioned by Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. So whether somebody dies, lives, gets hurt, gets assassinated, a stillborn baby dies, all right, a so-called natural disaster with a earthquake or a volcano or a tsunami, all right, people's thought processes, all right, the rulers that are in control, all that is put in place and controlled by Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. All right, this is the power that that we're dealing with, and this is our power. All right, this is the power. All right, and majority of our people and people in general, fail to realize this. All right, they don't understand this. They think they have some type of free will. You got rulers in positions that think that they got there by themselves, not understanding that this is the Lord's program. All right, and everything is done by the will of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, whether it be on the left or right, whether it be righteous or whether it be wicked. Okay, you have righteous angels, you got wicked angels. All right, but who controls them both? You got righteous people, you got wicked people. Who controls them both? All right, but nonetheless, let me start with this. Is Revelation 19:6, and it says, "And I heard as it were the voice of great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thundering, saying, Alleluia, for the Lord Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, omnipotent, reigneth." All right, this is who rules. All right, now, again, when you understand this, this puts great reverence, all right, great respect and fear upon Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. All right, when you understand this is the power that we're dealing with, this makes you want to submit to the Lord's will as best as you can. All right, now when you get to that word omnipotent, G3841, it says Pantocrator. It says he who holds sway over all things, meaning control. All right, the ruler of all, almighty, the most high. Strong's definition, the all-ruling, i.e. the most high, as absolute and universal sovereign, almighty, omnipotent. So when you understand that, all right, everything that happens has to be sanctioned. All right, has to be basically approved, authorized by Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. All right, so when somebody wakes up in the morning and they have a inclination, right? They have a thought that they want to go shoot up a school. Well, how did they get that thought? Well, the Lord sent a demon, all right, an evil angel to put that thought, all right, to make that person think that. All right, what makes a person think that they'll open the scriptures and read? Or what makes a person come to the true knowledge of Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi? That is Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. There's no free will. There's no you choosing to do that, choosing to do this. No, it's if the Lord downloads it and puts it in your mind, that algorithm for the day, all right, for the time, to do it. Okay? And again, when you understand that, it makes things a little easier, so to speak. That you're not bugging out, all right. You're not so overwhelmed because you know that the Lord is in full control. All right. Now let me get this real quick. I wanted to get in the online etymon. All right, omnipotent adjective, early 14th century. It says almighty, possessing infinite power. All right, omnipotent, almighty, all powerful, directly from Latin omnipotentem. All powerful, almighty, from omnis, which is all, omni, potens, general of potentis, powerful. So all powerful. All right, originally of the Most High or deity, generally sense of having absolute power or authority. And again, that's in every sense of the word. So all authority to whatever goes on in the world. All right, and in the heavens and the earth. Okay. Now, let me jump over here. Daniel 4:17. Because those who are in control, the Illuminati, the elite, all right, the big bankers, the Amalekites, the small hats, okay, whatever you want to call them, the wicked, all right, as the scriptures say, they're in control. All right, but that is by way of Yahawashi. Daniel 4:17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whomsoever he will. So the Lord, this is high level wisdom. All right, the Lord rules in the kingdom of men and he gives it to whomsoever he will. Now, when you read in Daniel's, you can read further on in the chapter, goes into the different beasts, the different kingdoms. All right, those are heathen nations, except the last one. The last kingdom to rule is the kingdom of Yahshua, kingdom of Yahawashi. But the other nations that are ruled, those are heathen nations, but that are set up and allowed to rule by Yahawashi. Okay, so it says, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whomsoever he will. So understanding that, we have Esau, Edom in control right now. All right, ultimately to fulfill prophecy and to show us what happens when you have somebody who's not supposed to ruling. All right, when a scriptures say in the Apocrypha, as the ruler is, so are the people, roughly paraphrasing. Now, when you have a wicked, abominable, a homosexual, nasty dude in control, well, how are the people going to be? All right, they're going to be like the ruler, because that's what the ruler's pushing out, that vibration. All right, and so again, he's set up to show us what is not good. All right, what is the wicked, what is not supposed to be ruling. All right, it says, and set up over at the basis of men. So he has literally set up the basis of men, the lowest of the low, to be in control right now. And see, this shows you the power of the Lord. All right, now real quick, just to further cement that thought home, this is Proverbs 21:1. It says the king's heart. So the king's heart is what? His mind. When you go into that word heart, it's the Hebrew word lab, which means mind. All right, it says the king's heart or mind is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. All right, who controls the rivers? Who controls how the water flows? That's Yahawashi. So who controls the king's mind? All right, when he makes a certain decree, when a certain law is passed, all right, whether you think it's wicked or not, whether you think people voted for that law or not, no, this is all by way of Yahawashi, all right, to further his will. Okay, and it's he's all knowing. So even to try and understand, to even try and understand that, you'll bug yourself out. It's beyond us. All right, but everything is like a chess piece on a chessboard, and he's moving everything. He's in full control. All right. Let me jump over here. Deuteronomy 32 and 39. It says, see now that I am he, there is no God with me. All right, I kill and I make alive. So there's no power with Yahawashi. Again, he is the Most High. I kill and I make alive. So not only does he set up these kings, all right, people's destinies, all right, are in the hands of the Lord. So whether, again, somebody dies, whether they're stillborn, whether they get their hand chopped off, all right, whether they get cancer, all right, this is the power of Yahawashi. It says, I kill and I make alive, I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So, somebody is sanctioned by Yahawashi to get sick, say cancer, or even like a flu, all right, or a cold. You can take all the Thermoflu or whatever they call it. You can take all the herbs. You can do anything you want. But if you're not sanctioned to get better, you won't get better. All right? Somebody has cancer. They cut the tumor out. They took chemo. All right? Hey, you did all that. Hey, if the Lord doesn't allow you to heal, you will not heal. Okay? So what? Again, Yahawashi is greatly to be feared. Understanding that, what would you do? Well, wouldn't you want to do what he says? All right? Understanding that he has full control over your life, wouldn't you want to do the best that you could? All right? Psalm 68 and 20. All right? You know what? Let me start at 19. It says, "Blessed be the Lord who daily loadeth us with benefits, even the Most High of our salvation, Salah." Yeah, the benefits we get. All right, scripture say promotion cometh from above. All right, you know, you get a certain position. You have a house, you have a car. All that is sanctioned by the Lord. All right. But this is the point, verse 20. It says, "He that is the power, Salah, he that is our power is the power of salvation. And unto Yahawashi, the Lord, belongeth the issues from death." So again, you know, being able to live, being able to stay alive, all right, or you know, being killed. That's controlled by Yahawashi. All right, Amos 3:6. It says, "Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city, and the Lord hath not done it?" Showing you that when there is certain evil, which evil means bad times in a city, the Lord controls that. You know, I mentioned it earlier. You know, you have tsunamis that happen. You have earthquakes that happen. All right, you have a bugged out shooter, you know, that might shoot up a mass shooting. All right, you might have a pestilence, a disease, you know, that's going around. That is sanctioned by Yahawashi. This is the power that we're dealing with. All right. A judgment. The scriptures say the Lord is known by his judgments. All right, the judgments that happen, that is by way of Yahawashi. And there's a lot of judgment that goes out. Okay, and mercy. Hey, again, our power is omnipotent, all powerful, all parts of the spectrum. All right, and I'll end off on this. This is Job 12. All right, and verse 13. I'll start at verse 13, and it's funny. The heading says Job speaks of the power of the Most High. All right, it says, "With him is wisdom and strength. He hath counsel and understanding." All right, so you know, wisdom, strength, counsel, understanding. You know, a scripture say if you lack wisdom, what do? You pray for it. All right, to understand what's going on, to understand the truth, to understand prophecy. That's given by way of Yahawashi. All right, faith is a gift. Verse 14, "Behold, he breaketh down, and it cannot be built again. He shut up a man, and there can be no opening." All right. You know, certain places that get, you know, messed up, get bombed. All right. If the Lord don't want it to be rebuilt, it won't be rebuilt. "Behold, he withholdeth the waters, and they dry up. Also, he sendeth them out, and they overturn the earth. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his." So the deceived and the deceiver, showing you that, you know, Esau, him being the main deceiver, he's controlled by the Lord. He's literally controlled by the Lord on the left-hand side to do what he does. All right, this is the Lord's movie. All right. It says, "He leadeth counselors away spoiled, and maketh the judges fools. He looseth the bonds of kings, and girdeth their loins with a girdle. He leadeth princes away spoiled, and overthroweth the mighty. He removeth away the speech of the trusty, and taketh away the understanding of the aged." So he has control of all these different things. All right, the way a prince comes into power, a way a nation comes into power, a way a nation is overthrown. You know, you can be these high-level kings, all right, at one point, and then the Lord could, make you slaves, just like what he did with us, and vice versa. You know, having the basis of men in power. You know, being you know, the utter bowers and peasants of the earth, but then being put into positions of authority. All right. It says he removeth. Hold on, Salah. Salaki. It says, "He looseth the bonds of kings, and girdeth their loins with a girdle. He leadeth princes away spoiled, and overthroweth the mighty. He removeth away the speech of the trusty, and taketh away the understanding of the aged." You being bugged out. All right, we see that. Taking away this wisdom. It says, "He poureth contempt upon princes, and weakeneth the strength of the mighty. He discovereth deep things out of darkness, and bringeth out the light, the shadow of death. He increaseth the nations, and destroyeth them. He enlargeth the nations, and straiteneth them again. He taketh away the heart of the chief of the people of the earth, and causeth them to wander in wilderness where there is no way. They grope in the dark without light, and he maketh them to stagger like drunken men. And again, showing you the power of the Lord. All right, the positions that he can put the mighty people in, the positions he can put the lowly in. All right, the positions of health he can put you in, a life and death. The sickness, health. All right, you got this job, you got that, you got this. Everything is controlled by Yahawah Shem El Shai. All right, so again, when you understand that, it should further that point home of really submitting to the will, because ultimately that's all you can do. All right, if you have understanding, if you have ears to hear, the only thing you can do is submit to the will of the Lord and hope that he has mercy on you. All right, but this is what our people fail to realize, and they think that they have some type of control in this place. They have some type of sway, but we read who has the ultimate sway. All right, and that's Yahawah Shem El Shai. A Lord's will, this is edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect and above.